I'm Karima Brown. It's Sunday morning and it's time for The Fix.
First up today, we explore South Africa's energy mix and the role of IPPs against the severe electrical shortages and its impact on the economy. And then we get under the skin of all the political activities in the city of Tshwane with its brand new mayor and a look at the controversial 12 billion rand Glad Africa contract with the city. And as is custom, we take a look at our weekend newspapers to see what's made headlines this week and why. The Fix starts now.
This is The Fix, of course, where every Sunday, without fear or favour, we question the big hitters. We look ahead to tell you what matters, how it affects you, and why you should care. And as usual, I'm joined by my sparring partner, Sunday Times and Business Day columnist, Peter Bruce. Peter, another hot political week in South Africa.
Yes, it was hot. It's always hot. There's a lot of stuff about Eskom that was very interesting out of the Zondo Commission, but the worst part of the week for me was that the Sharks lost to the Stormers yesterday.
Shame, I'm very sorry for you. You know I'm from the Western Cape.
Yeah,
I don't always claim that, so I'm walking a little taller than you this morning.
Well,
but
it's not going to last long.
I want to draw our viewers' attention to a very interesting piece that you wrote in the Sunday Times. It's going to be up on our screens. It's essentially talking about the fact that the list for scarce skills and how you can get people into South Africa has actually shrunk. How did you find it, and what does it tell us?
It was a piece. Reuters ran a short story about the list earlier this week, and somebody drew my attention to it. So I called up an immigration lawyer who's got a copy of the list.
Yes.
And it's quite extraordinary, really. The critical skills list is what your profession has to be on in order for you to be allowed to come and work here. You know, so you can't just, if you're journalists and somebody wants to hire you, it's not going to happen.
Tough.
But if you are a brain surgeon, you might, So the critical skills list the draft of a new one. So the last one is in 2014. There's a new one now. Is much shorter. In other words, there are fewer people going to be allowed to come in.
What's left off that list, Peter?
For instance, architects. Almost all agricultural expertise. This is as the president is proposing an agricultural revolution in South Africa. Lots of IT skills have been taken off.
The fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah, exactly. And there were one or two others that I can't remember. But it really, so it flies in the face of all logic because we know that a lot of people are leaving the country. A lot of skilled people are leaving the country, and both the president and the finance minister have talked about the need to replenish our skills.
Absolutely.
You know?
And we also know.
But this is drawn up by officials. That, the ministers don't get
Which
involved.
officials, which departments are involved?
Well, basically, it's kind of curated by Home Affairs, but they ask the lead department is the Department of Labour, if you can, and the other one will be higher education and training, and so they make suggestions. For instance, the top of the list from the DHET suggestions was business managers, people who can manage complex organizations.
Like Eskom.
Yeah. That doesn't appear on the final draft at all. So somebody at Labour said, absolutely not. We've got enough graduates coming out of the University in Mthatha and various other places to manage our companies and our economy. So we, are literally not even shooting ourselves in the foot. We're shooting ourselves in the head because we're too stupid to realize that actually, if you want to transfer a skill, you've got to do it in person. That person has to come to this country and do it and watch you and show you how something is done, not once, not twice, but 1,000 times. And then you can pass it on to somebody else.
And I think what is incredible about this is the fact that certain departments are obviously not talking to each other. I mean, you're saying that the president on the one hand says we're going to have this focus on agriculture, we need agricultural experts. We're talking about Pravin Gordhan, who says they've phoned local engineers and foreign engineers. And here you have three departments that make a decision that flies in the face of all of that.
Look, these are officials. This is what they do. They do it every 5 years, I suppose. They're updating the list. So, a note will go out from official A to official B in another department. What's your new list look like? So you'll tick off a few things, scratch out some things. We've got enough architects. And you know, the minister probably doesn't know about it until it's put in front of him to sign.
You know what I found really interesting when I was reading your piece, right next to your piece on the Sunday Times, and we'll explore this with Kevin Ritchie, is a brilliant piece written by the deputy of UJ around what is wrong with Eskom. Exactly. And one of the things that he said was that Kusile and Medupi was built like no other power stations in the world. And we don't actually have the skills to maintain them. And he says technically...
They were designed outside the country.
They're outside the country, and of course they now can't come in. And of course he was saying that the technical challenges that they present have now turned into financial challenges, which is what Pravin Gordon said to us a few weeks ago.
Medupi and Kusile, the story is much worse than we know. Eskom, because they decided not to build in the late 90s, the government had told them not to build. Then when they decided, oh my goodness, we really are going to run out of electricity, these projects were done very quickly. When the contractors arrived to do the job, there was, certainly at Medupi, there were no roads to the site at all. They had to build roads, and there was no housing for anybody. So you wondered, you got about 2,000 or 3,000 people working on a project like that. Where are they supposed to live? And so that contributes a lot to the delays. And that was Eskom's fault, not the contractor's fault. Eskom should have done that groundwork. They should have prepared the site. They've used twice as much concrete at Medupi that they estimated because they didn't do a proper soil analysis.
Well, we have to hold those people accountable. And of course, it segues very nicely into our very first guest, which is after the break, we will be hearing from the Energy Minister, Minister Jeff Radebe, on South Africa's energy mix and the role of IPPs on the economy.